let's play this clip while we're talking about it, because I saw this earlier, and obviously this is this is a billionaire CEO on CNBC, but this guy has his history of being obviously, as much as a billionaire CEO can be. He's runs a venture firm called Social Capital or something like that, right? And he goes on there, and he has a take that surprises, I guess, CNBC. Let's play this clip.
Degree can see their stocks rise in this magnitude, and all of that is just fine? That there's nothing wrong with the integrity of the system if that is occurring?
The lack of integrity in the system is the precursor that caused GameStop to be sold short 136%, and for people to try to pile on and destroy a company in front of our eyes. That, to me, feels wrong. That feels pretty un-American, if you ask me. I think GameStop is a reasonable business. I think what they do is reasonable. And so the fact that they shouldn't be allowed to exist because all of a sudden, we decide that they should be obliterated into the ground.
Well, they should be allowed to exist. They should be allowed to exist at whatever their stock should be valued at based on what their earnings are. And the stock was
the free market
$17, $18 not that long ago.
Who says that? Who says that? Do you want to make the same argument about Tesla? It's gone 10x in a few months. You don't know what it's worth. Let's be honest. Okay?
You don't think that Tesla's growth prospects?
Pause it
for the company.
Listen to the difference there, though. He says shouldn't stock prices be based on the growth of a company in terms of their quarterly earnings or whatever. He says that when talking about GameStop, but then Tesla comes up, and look, all of a sudden, you don't think that we should be looking at that for its prospects? Why does it work for one and not work for the other? Who's to say that GameStop doesn't transition? Because this is what the whole thing's about. GameStop is viewed lowly because they deal with physical games right now, and because of the pandemic, and honestly, just the way the video game industry has been trending for the past few years, everything's moving to digital. So the idea is that GameStop's going to go out of business eventually, so we're going to short sell it. It's a shitty stock. This company's going to go under. We'll make a ton of cash. But the thing is, some people have been saying, and there was the one investor I was reading, the guy who used to run that pet store Chewy before he sold it for a ton of money. He actually purchased into GameStop way before all this because he thought that they could pivot into having a business with dealing with digital goods, and they'll be fine. So what's the idea here that these guys can't, if it's a stock that they're for, Tesla's wonderful, they are gonna base it on its prospects. But if it's something like GameStop, which they view as shit because they don't understand gamers in the gaming industry, they're just gonna go, oh no, that we deal with differently. That's based on what they're worth right now. It's just double speak for just defend the hedge funds and the finance guys that they're talking to.
And Matt, it's not even that that GameStop is actually as shitty as the stock reflected. It was because the price was driven down based on the other people in Wall Street understanding the insane percentage of the stock that was being shorted. So they were driving the price down, these hedge funds, with their immense resources. And yet, this guy is so convinced that his religion, which is the market, has to be right, even though it's filled with all of the contradictions that we're talking about here. And he can't fathom it. And this guy, I'm sorry, the caller, he goes on the show, and his entire purpose is just to poke a bubble in these guys' worldview and realize that it's completely incoherent. And
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was reading actually that GameStop turned a profit last year. They're a business. They made money. Why are they viewed as some failing business? Because the stock market says so. Just because these hedge funds say so. Is there more to that clip? Is there more worth? I don't recall how long it was.
I don't know what it's worth. Let's be honest. Okay,
you don't think that Tesla's growth prospects?
Scott, I have my own model for the company. I'm allowed to underwrite however I want to own it. Everybody that bought that stock is also underwriting how they want to own it. And the point is, just because you're wrong doesn't mean you get to change the rules, especially when you were wrong, you got bailed out the last time. That's not fair.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that these investors who were short the stock,
the gears are turning. You're trying to figure out how to spin this.
I mean, I still haven't heard you. I still haven't heard
you
you
need a
tell me
bailout,
what
you're
the
wrong.
fundamental case is for GameStop at 350 or AMC theaters, which have been closed for months and months and months, is worth what the stock's trading at now, or any
because
number
of their
of
perspective
these things,
growth.
the way that they're trading.
The theaters will open up soon.
There's no fundamental reason why they're there. They're trading because there's this momentum cohort behind it, whether it's on Reddit or Robinhood or wherever else.
But Scott, why is that all of a sudden so wrong to you, this kind of momentum trading? Because, for example, if you look under the hood on every quant strategy, organized, quantitative, strategic hedge funds on Wall Street, those things are all momentum shops.
Yes.
They trade day over day.
That's exactly it. I mean, that was the point I was going to make earlier, but he knows more about that, the market. Like, it already happens. Market manipulation happens all the time. It's just like, wow, this happened. It was democratized and people on the internet did it. And then all of the players who normally make the rules that screw over everybody else, and they do it in cloaked rooms and they do it behind the scenes, like, then it affected them. And now I saw on CNBC, they're talking about we need some regulation against this. You know, we normally don't talk about regulation in favor of it, but now we need regulation. Oh, okay.
I also find it interesting usually how which companies are valued by a lot and which ones are shit upon by these guys. Like, you know, we could obviously critique capitalism and all these businesses, fine. But, you know, think about GameStop and AMC. These are businesses where the common person frequents usually, and there's a an equal transaction. I pay $15 for a movie. I enjoy an hour and a half of a movie. I think that's money well spent. Same for a video game. I pay $50-$60 for a game, spend hours of time playing it. I have fun. Good. Maybe I like those companies. I want to invest in them. Those are considered shitty stocks by these by these guys. But the ones that are with real value are like what, the big pharma companies that fuck us over by putting making medicine all this absorbent money and pocketing all that. Like what is considered, like what they consider to be businesses worth investing in and businesses worth all that money. It just doesn't reflect what everyday people view as the businesses that they frequent and the ones that they view as providing them with the most value too.
Well, no, it doesn't. But there's a reason for that. And I'm not going to get too in the weeds with this because I feel like it won't go well. But basically, the tendency is under capitalism for the rate of profit to fall over time on making things. And we've seen this borne out. We've seen this to be true. So what happened? All the capital, all that venture capital needs new places to go. And it invests in ridiculous things like Tesla and like tech companies whose future profits are fantastical. They're imaginary. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's built on sand. But they wouldn't be going there in the first place if it weren't for the fact that the profit on manufacturing is going down worldwide. And this has caused a drop in demand for labor. It's caused all sorts of horrible things. But there is a method to this. It's not an ideological decision. It's not an ideological reason why the capital and the money is going into these ridiculous pretend things. Like, this is a flaw that is baked into the system of capitalism.
We also shouldn't let it go past, now that Tesla's been mentioned, that Nancy Pelosi just bought a whole bunch of new stock options for Tesla, and that shouldn't be allowed. I mean, if I could summon popular anger, it would be toward her right now. Because and any of these people, I don't think you should be able to own stocks. I remember last year when this COVID stuff was going on, we had all these stories about these Republicans who have been insider trading based on COVID knowledge. And then who comes up? Dianne Feinstein. And we hear, well, actually, it might have been technically okay and legal and above board. Bullshit. None of these people should be invested in any of these businesses. You disinvest in everything when you become a politician. I mean, if we need to pay politicians more, we should. Salaries, for instance. But like, I mean, you know my opinions. I would blow up the entire passive income economy. But if you're going to have an income into politics, especially as the leader of the House of Representatives, you shouldn't be buying Tesla options.
Yeah. I also appreciate that this billionaire CEO is on TV trying to do some populist talk. Maybe he's hedging his bets a little. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Running for government.
he's been on before, and he usually has these takes. I think he's one of these, like, obviously we still want to take his money, but he's one of these these tech guys who has has empathy and and a brain, it seems like.
Or wants to avoid the pitchforks.
He's running for governor too in California.
Oh, he's running for governor. All right, then I retract what I said. It's
or is running for governor, not mutually exclusive.
Also was at the start of the pandemic, he went on and they were like, all of the CNBC anchors were confused as to what to do to jumpstart the economy, and he was like, direct cash to people, and they were like, well, flummoxed.
Yeah.
So not all equal, I guess.
Yeah, he's
whenever we can use these guys. Whenever we could use these guys to maybe try to shock everyone and go, a successful billionaire, know how normal people think of billionaires. Oh, this successful billionaire is saying this, then it must be good for the economy. Anywhere we could use those guys to get that reaction from the normies, I think that's good, and we should take it.
Well, sorry, guy, you're still getting expropriated.
Exactly.
The rev comes, so. It's nice that you're saying this stuff, but I see right through you.
Yeah, thanks for illustrating how much of a joke this entire.
Yeah, and for your governor run, you better actually put some action behind those words. Otherwise, you're just another one of all those other billionaires.
Yeah, I looked at his. We talked about this the other day, and I looked at his platform because Brendan alerted me that it wasn't very good, and it's not very good.
Then this is totally for the political run.
We appreciate his service in terms of owning the smug CNBC anchors who are just like so steeped in this bullshit that they can't see straight.
Yeah, he seems consistent, but it's like, he's riding on the Yang sort of UBI wave of new politics that's going to be coming in. So just keep your eyes open, I guess, is my point.
Boy, Yang. And
I don't think there's anything super clear from a left perspective from even what I've heard him say. Like, of course, this stuff is ludicrously unfair, but it shouldn't exist at all. Whether or not it would be fair for these guys or not. Like, this speculation is ridiculous and it doesn't serve society.
Right. Absolutely. I can't believe Yang has really made these guys all think they can do it too, don't they? It's I'm not even going to get into this. Let's not get into Yang today.
Can Yang do it even?
Yang's
just by running and being as successful as he was, however you want to define success, in the Democratic primaries. I mean, it's given all these guys the dream that they can do it too.
It looks like he's running for mayor of New York now.
It doesn't look like he is.
It sucks. Where
have you been?
So much. Well, all right, he is. He's doing it, and I've seen the polls, and they are horrifyingly good for Yang. And I don't like it. And I don't know what to do because, the DSA does not endorse in every race. And there's really not a candidate that it would make sense for us to endorse in this one. All we can do is just hope that Yang doesn't keep climbing.
I think he's not going to. He's tweeting out horrible takes and doing this creepy bodega stuff.
And he's literally never voted in New York, right? I feel like stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see.
Bloomberg got elected 3 times.
Right.
It's a sham.
He owns a media and financial apparatus. Yang is just some Silicon Valley.
I'm just saying, New Yorkers vote for horrible people all the time.
Did you guys see that Yang tweeted his part of his campaign tweet? He was like, I went to spoke to a 23-year-old man in Queens. He just got out of a 4-year relationship and he was so sad. It's going to get so much better. I was like, what the fuck does this have to do with policy? What is
It's going for the Reddit voters, man. He's riding it at the perfect time.
If he could just be the mascot of New York with no actual political power, but he would just be like the royal family or something. He runs around doing doofusy things. I would be okay with that.
New York social media ambassador or something
Yeah.
I would love to see some testing meetings between him and the NYPD commissioner.
Yes.
I mean, you really want de Blasio is completely rolled by that. You think Yang's going to be tough?
Yang got rolled for his bodega video and couldn't handle it. I mean,
which was a Wegmans, by the way.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you see his anti-BDS stance?
I think he's trying to
he's-
self-sabotage to some degree.
Yeah, he's all right. I'm just reading more about this this guy who was on CNBC actually, because I honestly have just seen his CNBC takes, and he's a chairman at Virgin Galactic, and he's owner of the Warriors, Golden State Warriors.
Oh, really?
Boy, this guy.
Also,
my view of him has certainly even tanked down lower.
Yeah, speaking of another thing that should be abolished is sports team owners, municipal ownership and player ownership and worker ownership.
I know.
Hackers.
Your money in any way. It's like, and you're a billionaire. The least offensive one is probably owning a sports team, in my view. But that's obviously my biases.
Yeah, abolish the billionaire owners, because the last 2 days, the two owners of the teams I care about most, one was involved in this, backing Melvin before they failed, and the other one, the CEO at his hedge fund, had to step down after donating $150 million to Jeffrey Epstein.
Who? Seems right.
That's Josh Harris.
Josh Harris, he's saying, of
who owns the Sixers and the Devils.
Damn, the Devils, indeed.
It's a really good example, actually, of the stupidity of capitalism, right? Because it's something that's very easy for most people to understand. People who play sports professionally are very good at them, and they know what they're doing. They do all the work. They create all the value, and the people who own them don't do anything.
Yeah, it is. And for example, in the NBA, at least they're better. All the players get fully guaranteed contracts. In the NFL, they're like, if you tear your ACL, working hard, you're fucked. We're keeping it.
It drives me crazy that, like, I'm a big fan of both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I'm a big fan of defensive wings. And I have to watch Clippers games and see Steve fucking Ballmer behind the basket. Like,
yeah,
it's just an atrocity.
I have to root for fucking Steve Cohen. Like, now that he bought the Mets, right? I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a Rangers fan. It's like the most vile billionaire in existence is James Dolan. And so if I go to see a game, I'm paying James Dolan. That sucks. Anyway,
someone should do something about that.
Yes.
There's some this is unconfirmed, so I don't want to bring it up really, but there's some like crazy speculation about what's going on over at Robinhood, even more so in terms of I don't want to bring it up because it's not confirmed, but it's
the appearance, at least, that it looks like they're like closing people out on their positions. Is that what
yes, that they're auto selling for people. It appears that, but it's unconfirmed. Yeah. Unconfirmed. That would be very illegal, I would think. I don't know what you sign up for with your terms of service when you sign up for that app. But
there's a big clause that says, let us decide, let the capitalists.
Yeah, I don't know if that would even, right. Yeah, I don't know. Whew. Oh boy. It sucks that this stuff is I don't know more about it, because I would like to talk more about it, but I just
I think we know as much as we need to know.
I do think, like, I was very impressed. I mean, he's been killing it at Vice for a while, but Edward Anguesso, really, that interview today was excellent. I mean, his mastery of that stuff is great.
Did I say let's put that up later?
Oh yeah, we got it.
Okay. See if I can find the quote about Marx playing the stock market. It's so good. He's such a bro. I love it.